Welcome to our weekly video blog to help Christians to stand firm in an unpredictable world. The title of today's video blog is The Great Deception, Part 2, originally Thinking Globally. The most dangerous threat to Christianity is secularism. You might object and say quite forcefully that communism is the greatest threat. I would argue that it's really not, because the deception of secularism is more dangerous and has already led many people astray, whereas communism in its purest form allows no voice to the people, no freedom of expression, and no religious tolerance. Therefore, Christians in a communist country know that they are being oppressed. In 1844, Karl Marx, a revolutionary German socialist philosopher, declared that religion was the opiate of the masses. For any form of government that states unequivocally that all religion is a drug to its people that must be forcibly removed will in time become a failed state. For any philosophy of government that denies the voice of her people in time will not only lose the heart of her people, but will experience a counter-revolution to bring forth some form of democracy as witnessed in Russia. At the conclusion of the revolutionary coup in Russia, I traveled through Moscow to the Russian state of Latvia to openly proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ. Even China, a communist state, over the years has moved toward an increased freedom of religion and a socio-economic platform of capitalism to provide for her people. As communist China moves to the center, her closest neighbor, North Korea, has remained on the far left. North Korea, as a closed society, denies all voice to her people, thus following a stricter form of communism to forcibly remove the opiate of the masses. Any casual mention of God will either land you in prison or in front of a firing squad. As we have seen in Russia and beginning to see in China, communism will inevitably change. It will either be dismissed by her people or removed by another great power in the world to make room for the secular state in its rush toward world dominance and the institution of a new world order. The downfall of communism is inevitable to make room for secularism, a philosophy that practices religious tolerance and adheres to the rules of global government. The social engineers know full well to reshape our world into a secular utopia and to galvanize all nations to accept their destiny. They must not appear to rob the masses of their age-old religions. To allow the people to keep their God, even if they are unable to bring him into the public sphere, will satisfy most. To give the veiled appearance that people still have a voice in the public domain will keep them obedient to the socio-economic demands placed upon them. To promise peace and prosperity to all by spreading the wealth through their social programs and maintaining a world dominance will keep the majority financially content. To care for all the people through their secular counseling programs will keep most happy that they appear to be getting better and the perception that someone really cares. Yet through all this, there is a great danger on the horizon. Any push to secularize the entire world will eventually push Christianity behind closed doors and totally dependent upon the state for their welfare. As European socialist countries moved further to the right by accepting all religions equally, they also adopted secularism more than a philosophy to run their countries without the involvement of religion. As secularism spreads throughout Europe after the last Great War, Christians no longer remain totally dependent upon God to solve their problems, but turn to the state. As the state ministers to the people every emotional, psychological, and physical need through their social programs and secular counseling by the professionals, God became less relevant to the masses. Over time, the churches became empty, driving thousands of believers from both the Catholic and evangelical churches. Now, secularism has crossed the Atlantic to invade our hemisphere, and this country in particular. Perhaps this is the greatest deception, because most Christians will never recognize the invasion, but simply proceed on their merry way, thinking all is well. Well, dear friend, all is not well. Don't fear North Korea's idiotic threats of a nuclear launch against this country, but beware of the New World Order preparing to destroy this invader and spread its secularism. Even if North Korea makes a successful launch or invades South Korea, they will be met with such a tremendous force for which the world has never seen. I feel confident that China will not sacrifice its economy that has become ever so dependent upon our country, expressed in so many words by her president. In a speech on April 7th at the BOAO Forum for Asia Annual Conference 2013, he said that the global village should be a stage for common development rather than an area where gladiators fight each other. No matter what happens, dear friend, my concern has always been that Christians learn how to stand firm in these uncertain days by realizing the real enemy that's spreading its form of secularism and the host of evil attacking each and every Christian with the wiles of the devil. Although it's important to think globally, it's even more important to understand the wiles of the devil and learn how to fight against them by using God's Word and not allowing yourself to become dependent upon the professionals of psychology, the New World religion. Friends, let me encourage you to secure a copy of my latest book, Stand Firm, Godly Counsel for the Last Days. God bless you, my friends, and remember to stand firm.